Today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get started with Cucumber and Playwright when using Claude Code. To get started, let's go ahead and open up a new directory, and this one is called Playwright Example and has nothing in it. And we're going to go ahead and fire up Claude by typing Claude. So this is new. They want us to accept the terms and policies. So they must have just shipped something new here. So I'm going to say OK. And now it says welcome to Claude Code. Type to let us know what you want. So let's go ahead and start out by saying create a Cucumber style Playwright project. And I like to tell Claude Code that I'm running on Windows so that it doesn't initially use examples that only work on Mac or Linux. So I'm going to say this project needs to run on Windows. I'm also going to say that we only want Chromium so that it doesn't try to do cross-browser and include tests for Firefox. So I'll say this only needs to run on Chrome. Say Chromium just in case. And then finally, we want to create our first test. So we'll say create a scenario that navigates to the testtree homepage, which is https://testtree.com, and verifies that the page title is correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and press enter. And the first thing Claude Code is going to do is it comes up with a plan. The plan is a sequence of steps that it thinks it needs to do in order to accomplish the task. And so you can see it says next up is initializing NPM project, then installing Playwright. So it's going to ask us, do we want to run npm init to initialize the NPM project? So here we can say yes if we just want to allow this command the first time. We can say yes and don't ask again if you want it to run similar commands. For the purpose of this, I'm going to leave that option off for now. I'm just going to say yes the once because I want it to ask us every time so that we can see what it's doing and stop it if we want it to do something else. So let's go ahead and initialize the NPM project. And then next, it's going to ask us to install the Playwright and Cucumber dependencies. So an npm install command, of course, to do that. So let's agree and let it get started there. And now you can see next up, it's going to create the Cucumber configuration file once it's done installing the packages. Now this might take a little longer on your computer if you haven't installed some of these packages before. It can take longer to download them and get them installed. I use these tools all the time, so I typically have the latest versions already ready to go. You can see it gives a nice preview when it's about to write to a file. So here it's creating the Cucumber.js file, and it's going to look in the features folder to find the features. So let's go ahead and create the Cucumber file. All right, here's a bigger file. Now it's got the Playwright config. And you can see under projects, it only lists Chromium. If you didn't specify Chromium, I've noticed Claude Code tends to add Chromium, Firefox, Safari, which may be what you want. But in this case, we only want Chrome. So let's go ahead and run this. Now we've got the TypeScript config. So a little bit of configuration to write things in TypeScript instead of vanilla JavaScript. Now we're creating our features file. So it's creating a directory for features. And And this is what our feature file is going to look like. So as a user, I want to navigate to the test tree website so I can verify the page loads correctly. Let's go ahead and create that feature file. And I'm curious to see if it implements the step definitions right away or if it asks us. It looks like it's going to prompt us separately to create the steps definitions, or it did it already. And then now it's going to create the support directory. Oh, that's where it's going to put the step definitions. So here we have steps. You can see it's importing the given, when, then. It's importing your customer world and implementing the given I navigate to method, which is going to go to the URL. And then the page title should be correct, which is looking to see if the page title contains test tree. So let's go ahead and implement those step definitions. We should be getting pretty close to done here. So let's see what it says after we've implemented the step definitions. Now it wants to set up the world file. This is just to manage the context a little better for your step definitions and your feature files. And then some hooks. The hooks are going to manage the context as well as the browser. Now we're adding NPM scripts. These are going to modify the package JSON so that you can just say npm test in order to run your tests. So let's go ahead and implement the npm test script. And you'll notice it also added a variation that says headed. In the browser world, headless means you don't see the browser running. Headed means you will see the browser running. And that's it with our project. So now the setup is complete. We've created a Cucumber configuration, a Playwright configuration, added our feature file, added a step definition implementation, started up the browser, and added npm test. And so it says to run the test, npm test. Well, we don't even have to go somewhere else in order to do that. We can actually click that here, and it will get started here. And I take that back. It just locked up. I thought about editing this out, but this problem has been happening for me pretty regularly, and it's still something I'm trying to figure out what to do about. But Claude Code has just been locking up for me quite a bit. So instead of waiting for this to complete, I'm going to go ahead and open up a new window here, and I'm going to go to our projects directory. This is the Playwright example. Make it a little bigger so you can see it. And I'm just going to run npm test directly from this folder. And I think the code that was generated said that the default is headless. So it's probably actually running, and I'm not seeing it run at the moment. Oh, nope, there we go. I did see the browser pop open. And there you have it. As you can see, one scenario with 2 steps. Everything is passing. And this is generated directly with Claude Code with no modifications. If you want to start up Visual Code or Visual Studio Code in order to see what was created, you can just say code and then dot. That's a little trick I like to do to open up Visual Studio Code. And you can see we have a features file with the test tree feature, navigating to the test tree website and verifying the title. You can see that it put the step definitions under features support. There are a couple variations of how you can do that, and we can actually ask Claude Code to do it differently if that's not what we want to do. And I have the Playwright extension already installed here. So if I just want to run the test directly from Visual Studio Code, I can also do that. So I click to the play button. You can see it's firing up and it's doing the navigation. And I can also see the test results here. So the test tree website is passing, verifying the test tree page title. Given that I navigate, then the page title should be correct. And that's all you need to do to get started with Cucumber style tests and Playwright using Claude Code. Some people ask, why do I do Cucumber? I've always been a fan of BDD or business driven development for quite some time, but I think it's even more important now that we're using AI to generate the code because the feature files are useful for describing the behavior of the system. And that's true whether you're having an intern work on your project, an experienced developer who just came from a new company, or an AI agent that is going to lose context over time. So I really like doing Cucumber style tests, and I love how Claude Code is able to interact very well with Cucumber style projects written in Playwright. I think it's a really great foundation to start all of your testing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Chris Harbert from Testery. And if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and stay tuned.